The French Foreign Legion is known to be one of the toughest military units within the French military. This unit was established by King Louis Philippe back in 1831. The Foreign Legion, as the name suggests, only recruits foreign nationals. The Legion accepts men between the ages of 17 and 39 of any nationality, and these recruits enlist under an assumed name. In other words, they do not use their real names. However, after 1 year of service, the legionnaire may request to serve under his real name. Recruits with criminal background are accepted, although their crimes must not be serious crimes like murder, and they must not be wanted by the Interpol. Only about 1 out of 8 applicants would make it through the selection process, consisting numerous tests such as physical, psychological, personality, logic tests, medical exam, and interviews. Historically, this unit does not accept women, and there is only one English woman who became a legionnaire after serving in Vietnam during the First Indochina War. There are, however, non-Legion female officers attached to the Foreign Legion, and they wear the Legion's green beret. Some of you may be wondering, how do they communicate, given members of the Legion come from over 140 countries? Everyone is expected to speak French. Throughout their 15 to 17 weeks of basic training, trainees are taught the French language on a daily basis. Foreign Legion basic training is slightly longer than the French Army's basic training, which is 12 weeks. Upon joining the Foreign Legion, recruits are required to sign a 5-year contract and are eligible for French citizenship after 3 years of military service. If a legionnaire is wounded in action, he automatically gets French citizenship whether or not he completes his service. Hence the saying goes, French through spilled blood. The Foreign Legion is essentially a mercenary-like unit as well as an expeditionary force of the French army. They are often the first to see combat since the French conquest of Algeria to the Central African Republic Civil War in present day. The reality is that from the former French king's perspective, their lives were not as important as French soldiers. As a result, the Legion suffered great losses throughout history. Lawyers have accused the Legion for its lack of humanity when it comes to the treatment of its soldiers. According to one French officer, in the Legion, we don't speak about our rights, we speak about our duties. In terms of salary, the minimum pay of a legionnaire is about 1,400 euros per month, which is significantly lesser than the average salary in France. The Foreign Legion comprises about 9,000 personnel divided into 8 regiments, 2 infantry, 1 cavalry, 2 engineer, 1 parachute, and 2 support regiments, as well as 1 demi-brigade or half-brigade. The operational command of these units fall under the respective brigades or territorial commands of the French Army. The Foreign Legion command only serves as an administrative and ceremonial command. For instance, the 2nd Foreign Parachute Regiment falls under the command of the 11th Parachute Brigade, which also comprises other regular French airborne units. The Foreign Legion constitute about 11% of the French Army operational units. The 1st Foreign Regiment is a depot regiment based in Aubagne, comprising the Legion Athletics Team, the Legion Military Band, and the Legion Museum. They are responsible for administrative and ceremonial initiatives. The 4th Foreign Regiment, based in Castelnaudary, is a training regiment responsible for the training of recruits. The regiments do not share the same organizational structure. For instance, the 2nd Foreign Infantry Regiment has 7 companies, whereas the 3rd Foreign Infantry Regiment only has 5 companies. The 2nd Foreign Infantry Regiment is based in Nimes, and the 3rd Foreign Infantry Regiment is based overseas in French Guiana. The 2nd Foreign Infantry Regiment is a motorized infantry regiment equipped with troop carriers like the VBCI. The 1st Foreign Cavalry Regiment based near Marseille don't actually ride horses into combat in present day. Comprising 7 squadrons, armored squadrons operate the AMX-10RC, armed with a 105mm gun, whereas the 2 reconnaissance squadrons operate the Panhard VBL. As of 2022, this regiment has received the Jaguar Armored Combat Vehicles, which will be replacing some of the aging AMX-10RC. The 2nd Foreign Parachute Regiment is the Airborne Infantry Regiment of the Foreign Legion. It comprises 10 companies, and each combat company has a specialized role, such as urban warfare, mountain warfare, and so on. The Parachute Regiment is also equipped with the VAB. The Foreign Legion has an elite airborne commando unit under the Parachute Regiment's Combat Support Company. The French Parachute Commando Group performs a similar role to the British Pathfinder Platoon. Although they are special operations capable, they are not considered as special forces by France. The Foreign Legion Parachute Commandos make up 3 out of the 19 parachute commando teams under the 11th Parachute Brigade. The 2 engineer regiments share the same regimental structure with some differences at the company level. They are responsible for providing engineering support ranging from river crossing, CBRN operations, to mine clearance and explosive ordnance disposal. While both regiments have elite combat divers that are special operations capable, only the 2nd Foreign Engineer Regiment has the Mountain Commando Group. The Mountain Commando Group is essentially the sister unit of the Parachute Commando Group. As such, this regiment falls under the operational command of the 27th Mountain Infantry Brigade along with other French mountain troops. Headquartered at Le Cavalry, the 13th Demi Brigade is the last Demi Brigade within the French Army. As a composite unit consisting at least 5 combat companies, only 70 out of its 1,300 soldiers are permanent elements, and the bulk of the force comprises Legion and non-Legion elements rotating every 4 months. 13th Demi Brigade is mechanized, equipped mainly with armored vehicles such as the VAB and Griffon BBMR. Additionally, the Foreign Legion also has a detachment based in Mayotte. This detachment is the smallest independent operational unit of the Foreign Legion, comprising 1 HQ company and 1 combat company on a 4-month rotational basis. The French Foreign Legion has inspired many similar units around the world, such as the Israeli Mahal, the Spanish Legion, and most recently, the Ukrainian International Legion, which all recruited foreigners into their ranks.